Hello viewers, you welcome to this tutorial. So this is another level of what a function actually does. So in the previous tutorial we just learned how to declare a function, call a function, give a good name to our function, and how to put codes to execute within your function. So we're now dealing with how to implement function in our real life. So I made mention of you visiting a restaurant and the waitress already knows you, a regular customer, and perhaps you always buy the same amount of food you want to buy. So maybe she knows you unless you want to change them. Okay, so she knows you by default. So I don't want to declare user input to receive input from the user. Okay, you can do all that, but just focusing on the main point. So let's just go straight to the point. I was about to write list. Okay, user choice. Okay, user choice. So the waitress knows what you buy every time. Okay, so you go like let's see, pizza. All right, and you have burger. I don't really know if someone buys all this at the time, but I think that's kind of simple. So let's add something else and say drinks. All right, maybe drinks. She knows the drinks you buy. All right, and we go like chocolate. Okay, so these are the things you order when you get to the restaurant. Okay, so now let's move to the code itself. How do we want to declare the function? What happens is anytime the waitress comes to you, okay, she expects you to say, or maybe just wink an eye to her. So she says, oh, okay, he is expecting to buy the previous thing he always buys. And when the waitress goes to maybe the cooking place as well, maybe the kitchen or whosoever she will channel the information to, that person as well has to get the information. So instead of just going to the person and saying give me one pizza, one burger, one drink, one chocolate, maybe they have a simple way of talking with codes, just like in the army they have codes of talking. Okay, maybe 1 3 4 5, or maybe any other code, or perhaps the person at the kitchen as well knows this regular customer who always buys this thing. All right, so we want to declare a function, so we don't need to go back to the waitress, and the waitress will also go back to the man at the kitchen and mention all the list of things we need. So maybe the waitress just needs to tell the one at the kitchen, hey, remember that customer, or maybe any other name, Philip Code, or any name at all. All right, so let's just jump in. We have right this, okay, user, so users stuff. Okay, users food. All right, we open close bracket, we bring a colon. All right, so what we want to do is user choice, or we can even shorten the code and just declare the function within this. All right, let's just do this. It becomes simpler. I was thinking of giving user input and other stuff, that's why I wrote the code that way. So user choice, all right, and just print user choice. Okay, so this is the function we have. Okay, and okay, I think let me put it back again. Let me put it back again just for one reason, because the user could change his need. Okay, so we don't want to put that one in the function. The user could say I need a different thing. So this is where we kind of receive the user input. This is kind of a place where the user could make a decision. I want to change something, so you can receive a user input here. Okay, but to focus on the main part of the code, I put everything within the list. Then I print the list here. Okay, so users food. So anytime I get to the receptionist, or maybe I get to the user, this is what I know the user gets. So I receive input from the user and I come to the user. All right, and I just say user food. All right, so this user food actually prints it to the user. So this will be reviewed to the user. Okay. Alright, so remember we have to leave 2 spaces after the function. It's not compulsory, you can skip it if they give you such errors. Now one other way of skipping minor errors is just click on this, okay, and ignore errors like this. So if you click on it to ignore this kind of errors, because these are not syntax errors, these are basically line formatting errors and some other stuff. So but I prefer to do it, no problem. Okay, so this is print okay, this will be reviewed to the user. So this is an information we show to the user. Okay, so the user is come, and this is what the waitress has in the head for the user. So the waitress has predefined a function already. Okay, and the user meets the client in the restaurant again. So the user declares this function. Okay, the user calls this function, maybe kind of winks to the user and says, oh, is this what you need? And the user will say, yeah, as usual. All right, so when he gets back to the kitchen, this will be reviewed. Okay, reveal is kind of revealing things to me. This will be revealed to the guy at the kitchen. All right, guy at the kitchen, the cook, the chef, or whoever that is, the guy at the kitchen, and user food. Okay, so this what happens. So instead of the person going to the user who is in need, or the guest, and saying, do you need pizza, burger, drinks, or chocolate, or what do you need, he already knows and he has predefined what the user needs, okay, because she is regular or she knows. So she declare a function and she puts in everything the user needs. All right, so immediately she gets to the user, she can just declare that function. Maybe she will say as usual. All right, so let me use that name, as usual. Don't mind me, I like changing names and other stuff. I prefer that one. Okay, as usual. All right. So she just goes to the user, says as usual. So the as usual contains a whole lot of stuff which you and I have no idea about. So she will say as usual to the client, and the client says yes. And after saying yes, now she comes to the waitress and says, she comes to the guy at the kitchen and says as usual. So as usual to who? Maybe as usual to Prince, as usual to Philip, as usual to anyone else. Okay, so to Philip. Okay, alright, so this is the basic thing we want to do. So you've kind of understood. This is something little. I want you to understand how a function could be repeated. We're going to do so much things with a function, especially if we're dealing with receiving arguments and some other stuff. And as we go much further, you will see several things in the function. So what we just want to achieve today is for you to understand how a function helps in repetition. So that is the essence of this code. The next tutorial will be an advance of it. So this is basically how a function can be repeated. So that, just get that concept as it is, that we're trying to repeat what a function does, so we don't end up writing all this. Now just imagine we have only one thing here. Okay, let's add something else. I knew right, okay, or I know right. All right, okay, just imagine this kind of things. We have more than 5 codes here. Are we going to be repeating the 5 codes for all these ones? No. So this is basically what the function does. It can be declared once and it's used for all the stuff it wants to do. Okay, I think I want to take this back to this, so it becomes much more as I'm expecting. All right, so this is it. We have all this within the function. Okay, I've taken it back front about countless times. So this is what we have. This is what we want to execute. So if we have about 100 of things within the function and we want to show to the user, we just about hundreds of code we want to execute to the user, we declare a function and we come talk to the user as usual. The user knows what we're talking about, and we come to the guy at the kitchen who also understands as usual. Okay, maybe as usual is a code between them, even though we can add to Prince. Okay, so as usual to Prince, or we can just say as usual. So that one alone could work. Okay, so let's run this code and see. Okay, I made a mistake. I just typed this in addition. All right, so there's it. So we have pizza, burger. Now guess what? At the beginning of the code we declare the function, then it printed this to the user. All right, so this as usual will be a print to all this. All right, now in normal human conversation it will be as he is telling the user, this is it, this is, you need pizza, burger, drinks, and chocolate. But we're dealing with systems right now, so the as usual contains all these ones. All right, so immediately we declared as usual. It said this will be revealed to the user, then it prints all this. But behind the scene, the person didn't say everything. He just said as usual, which all these things are values within the as usual. All right, then he says I know right. Then he comes to the kitchen and says this will be revealed to the guy. Now he didn't say this one. This is just for you to understand what I mean. So this code is for you watching this tutorial right now. Okay, then he also says as usual, and the as usual also runs through this code. Okay, so that is the basic concept of how it works. The I know right kind of fits in at the top, but it doesn't really fit in at the down, but no problem. I just want you to get a concept about how you can be repeating function. So the number of time I repeat a function will just be the number of times it runs. So in our code or in our software development, if there are so many things we want to do which we just want to repeat those kind of tasks, there is no need to write those kind of code repeatedly. Just imagine I have all this, I copy them, I paste them here, I copy them and I paste them here as well, just because I want to reveal it to these two people. If there are hundreds of things, it's just a waste of lines of code, and it also increase the size of my code in the first place. So this tutorial is just helping us to be able to understand how codes could be repeated and codes could be used in diverse of ways. So thanks for viewing. Make sure you subscribe if you've not. Watch the next tutorial, is more advanced on how to use a function. Like the video if it's a blessing to you, and also thank you for viewing.